Well, it's a very good afternoon from St Patrick's CBC. Another one of my what seems to be fortnightly messages out to parents from my desk. It's always a pleasure to be able to chat to you and give you a bit of an update on what's going on at the school. So this week was my birthday, and I was very kindly and generously spoilt by all the children and staff and everything. So thank you very much to everybody who was so kind and wished me and sang for me and did all the things they did. I must say it was quite an emotional day with all sorts of choir singing and assemblies and what have you. So it was a really special time, and that's one of the things that makes me so pleased that I'm a teacher and in education, and these moments of love and pouring out of emotion by children and communities is just what schools are about, and it's just a lovely thing. So thank you so much to you all. One of the things that's been concerning us lately, and for a while now, but it's not getting any better, in fact it's getting worse, is the issue of mobile phones and children, and not only the younger children but also the older children being a bit of a problem. So as parents, you very generously buy your children cell phones or make a cell phone available to them to use, very often with no control over those in terms of what they can access, what WhatsApp groups they're part of, who they're sending messages, what format of the messages in, and all those sort of things. Now we're getting quite a few instances in the junior school. They're not allowed to bring their phones to school, so it's certainly not happening during school hours, but after school hours they then get onto these groups and they're sending messages, and then they cause tension with one another and they call each other horrible names, and it becomes a bullying incident, and then it becomes the school responsibility to try and resolve that bullying incident simply because the children are from our school, possibly. And really, I think as parents, you've given them those phones. You need to take responsibility for it. You need to check exactly what they're doing, not only the amount of time they're having on the screen, what sites they're visiting, what groups they're on. In terms of WhatsApp, there has to be control over those, else you're going to continue to have these problem areas where they're saying and doing things they shouldn't do. And that applies to the high school as well. You need to have some form of control over it. These cell phones become dangerous pieces of equipment in the hands of children who haven't yet learned the understanding of how they look after them and how they address themselves on it. That also just leads to something else, is that when there's tension between children, and whether it's caused by cell phones or other squabbles amongst the children, we please ask the parents that you allow the school to take care of those disciplinary matters, that you notify the school that there's an incident, we will investigate and we will take care of it. We cannot have parents coming onto campus and approaching children personally and then disciplining them or threatening them or telling them not to bully their child, and that this becomes a problem where they're in our care and we need to be taking responsibility. We just cannot have all our parents coming on and bullying or talking to other children. So please, we've had to have a couple of cases where we needed to suspend parents from campus because of this, and we can't keep having these instances. So please, if you have any issues, if after hours you phone another parent to discuss your children's matters, that's a different thing, and you discuss it at parent level, and that's a mature and sensible thing to do. But what we can't have is have mums and dads coming onto campus and just taking it into their own hands. So please, we're asking for your cooperation in that respect. So last Saturday morning at about 3:30 in the morning, we had a thunderstorm, and a very large bolt of lightning hit the school. In fact, it struck one of the crosses, the concrete crosses on top of the Nazareth House building. That's where the music and the ECD are. And it caused extensive damage there, but then it also blew other parts of the school, and my house is quite nearby, and we house some of the electronic equipment there that controls the internet and the fiber cables that come into the school through that source. There was quite a bit of blowing and equipment damage. There's thousands and thousands of rand of structural damage to the roof of that building. Fortunately, it's still functional, so the music department and ECD are still running. But I must just thank all the staff, first of all, for their patience and cooperation on this matter. Parents, we had a day or two where we had no telephone linkage from the school phones, and we also didn't have Wi-Fi, so we couldn't get hold of you and communicate. So I apologize if you were trying to get hold of us over those days. Our IT department have done a sterling job of going to Joburg, getting the new equipment, bringing it down here, reinstalling it, and we are almost 100% up and running by yesterday afternoon. So well done to our IT guys as well. We most appreciate your input and efforts there. Then the clothing shop is another area that sometimes causes us some concern, and both with stock that we hold, where sometimes we run out of stock and we try to replace that and replenish stocks. But the other area is the two sets of clothing or items of clothing that we don't hold in stock. We place specific orders for, and that's the hoodies and then also the quilted or padded jackets that we have. And of course they're winter items, so we start earlier in the year, in sort of February or March, and to order those, and each one has to be ordered independently by the parent and paid for. And then once we've got all the orders in, we place the order with our supplier, and then they take 4 or 5 or 6 weeks to get that produced and sent back to us. So it can be a bit of a slow process, and once you've ordered it, we can't swap it now and change the sizes and that. So it's extremely important that you make sure the size you're ordering is correct, that you've tried on somebody else's jacket and you get an accurate size, or you don't just guess the size and then if it's not right, we can't swap it for you because it's been specially made for you in that way. So please parents, let's get that right. We'll also try and do our best to start this earlier before winter is upon us, because now we're halfway through winter and some children haven't got their quilted jackets or their hoodies, or they have got them and they're the wrong size, and now we're running around. So please let's take better care on those areas. And then talking about uniforms, uniform and how we wear it is a really important part of our school ethos and the image that we project as a school. And we want the children to wear their uniform with pride, and so when they come to school we check that they're nicely dressed, they got their tie and blazer and they've got it in the right order. But where we have less control is after hours, when they've left school and you're going to the mall on your way home, or you're doing something else, and then the children take off their shoes and walk with slops, and there's half their uniform on and half their uniform off. So please, if they after school hours, if they're anywhere where they got any clothing that shows that they're from St. Patrick's CBC, that they're dressed properly and their blazers on, their ties are properly done, their shoes are on, their socks are up, all those sort of things, that projects a good image of our school. And as parents, it would be you to supervise that. While at school, we'll check that they're properly dressed, but when they're off the premises, please will you make sure that or don't let them into the mall if they're in the car and not dressed properly, or let them change completely and have their civvies on and go in dressed how you choose. But if they're wearing uniforms, if that could be done more carefully. Then this evening there's an exciting soundscapes, mainly orchestras and bands and that, tonight in the hall. There's still tickets available, so if you'd like to attend, it's at 6:30. Be there and enjoy our music department's skills. We also have had an exciting week with football or soccer tournaments for the juniors. I think we had the under 11s and under 13s the other day, and there's another one coming up for this Friday. I think it might be the girls with their under 13 football tournament. So it's great excitement and the children are enjoying it. So we love having the parents coming and watching and the enthusiasm of that. Then the important thing is that we start exams next week in the high school. So please, we need lots of discipline and structure for those. If your child's sick and they can't make an exam, we need to then get a doctor's certificate sent in and done, and please make sure you're here on time. There's also different dismissal times during exams. We tend to finish a bit earlier, and in the high school that will be communicated with you. In the junior school, you need to let us know in a survey to say whether you're going to pick them up immediately after exams or whether they need to stay till the end of the school day. So those are important information you need to share with us. But yeah, I'm sure they'll work hard, and as parents you'll encourage them as much as you can to do their best in these exams. Thank you for all your support this week and the last couple of days especially. It's been a very busy time for us, and we look forward to a smooth end to the term. Thank you very much.